time will tell what the future holds in store after this World Cup, whether England win it or not, with Gareth Southgate in mind. And it prompts a question, and I know Danny Mills is with me this morning with Carlton Palmer. Danny, I know this might be slightly tricky territory for you, but we'll go into it anyway. You're pals with Gareth. You live in the same area up in Harrogate. You know him well. Now, I'm going to put the question, why is Gareth Southgate seemingly never in the conversation for a domestic job? Before you come in on that one, I spoke to the man Jordan yesterday on this about Gareth Southgate's potential domestic credentials.
There's a seat for every backside. Do I think that seat would be at the top 6 or top 10 team in the Premier League? Highly debatable. I think the functions...
Not a top 10?
No, I don't. I don't know where and who would want Gareth Southgate
and what do you base that on?
Because I think there's a vast difference between managing players over getting the best in the country and assimilating them to play against inferior opposition, beating that inferior opposition and falling short against superior opposition. I don't think that's the blueprint for how domestic management says, aha, that's the excellence I want.
Is he right, Danny?
Well, before Danny answers
right,
that question, because he's friends with him, so I'll let Danny answer that one. I'll just say this. Gareth Southgate has won, is the only manager, he's won more major tournament wins than any other England manager, and that includes Sir Alf Ramsey. That's a fact.
Okay. Now, that may be the case, but how transferable is the skill set from international to Premier League?
No,
Very, because I would say Gareth is... We talked about earlier, there are coaches and there are managers. Gareth is a man manager. Behind Gareth is a fantastic coaching team. Steve Holland is an exceptional coach. You go back to... And please, on social media, don't jump onto the back of this. Sir Alex Ferguson was not a very good football coach. Man management skills were exceptional. All the coaches he had under him, McLaren, Kyrgios, were exceptional. But Moulenstein were fabulous. So that's a team. Gareth understands his role of managing people, managing players, being able to give them confidence and getting the best out of them. Steve Holland, I have to remember, Steve Holland's worked with some of the best, by the way, and been very, very successful, is a lot of the key behind the coaching side of it. Gareth will have his philosophies and will impart them and say to Steve Holland, go and do that on the training ground. Without a doubt, he could go into a top 10 club in the Premier League. Top 4, possibly not. Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, maybe not, maybe top 5. But anywhere under that, without a doubt, he'd get an interview and get, when you're talking...
Simon's saying not top 10.
But what?
Hang on. So Brentford, Fulham, Brighton wouldn't take Gareth?
I think
Newcastle, yes, they would, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, you've got a manager who's taken a group of players. I think Simon's been a bit unfair talking about the quality of the teams that he's played, that he's got the results. Regardless of that, right, we can look at other nations. Well, Italy haven't qualified for the World Cup.
But I would turn around as Carlton.
You know what I mean?
I would say Sven didn't get those results.
No.
Capello didn't get those results.
Correct, Danny.
McLaren didn't get those results. Roy Hodgson didn't get those results. Here we go. The list goes on and on.
The list goes on
those
and on.
guys you've just mentioned,
they all had top jobs.
Would you rather work under Southgate than the previous names you've just thrown in?
Would you?
Yeah, that's
answer that, Danny. Would you?
Yes. Take away that he's a good friend of mine. Would you want to work for Gareth? Yes, you would. Look at the atmosphere that he's created. Is that a good working environment? Well, does he improve players? Does he bring players on a journey with him? Does he help develop players? Put trust in young players, along with his coaches as well. You've got to bring the coaches into that. Yes, he does.
If you were looking at a long-term project at a football club, right, you would look at Gareth Southgate. And I think any team in the top 10 would look at what Gareth's done with this young group of players and have a look at him. I think the English FA, with the youthfulness of this squad, as long as Gareth, I believe this, as long as England don't get beat by France 4 or 5-0, if they go out, then I think they'll be looking for Gareth to continue his work. But I don't see an argument for him not to get a top job.
You see, it didn't go well all these years ago with Gareth at Middlesbrough. And it's a considerable period of time ago.
Yeah, but you have to remember...
They went down with him.
Yeah, but he was 35. He
was
35 years old, 36 years old, Jim. He knew that job was too soon. Martin O'Neill was interviewed. There were a string of managers interviewed. Nobody wanted that job at Middlesbrough. The chairman then went to Gareth and said, look, do you want to be player coach? And he went, I can't. I can't be player coach. It's impossible. I can't give 100% to being the manager if I'm still playing. So he stepped away a year too soon, or a year earlier than he wanted to as a player, to take that opportunity because he knew that he was unlikely to get another opportunity.
Okay.
That's a bit like Frank going into Chelsea.
Right.
It was probably too soon to go into Chelsea.
Well, right, I'll throw this at you then.
But you have to take that opportunity.
The World Cup comes and goes. Let's say in the second half of the season, Carlton, Manchester United have a nightmare under Ten Hag. Is Gareth in the equation? Chelsea have a nightmare under Potter.
Yeah, it's in the
Is Gareth in the equation?
Let me ask you, let me turn this around on you then, Jim. As a football player, right, can you start poorly and develop later on? So so it all changes. Same as a manager. You can start, you take the opportunity young. I took the opportunity that came up at Stockport. Big Ron told me not to take it. It was too soon for me. And, you don't do as well. We have this mechanism of saying, well, okay, you've gone in there, you failed, you can't be successful later on. Of course you can. And of course he's learned.
What's the most... When you talk about those top clubs, Jim, what's the most important thing? Man management.
Man management.
Because you've got good players.
I would say winning.
Well, but you've got good players. So you've got to be able to manage those players on a day-to-day basis. Gareth has proven exception at that. He's incredibly good with the media. That gets a lot of people on side. That buys you a little bit of extra time. And that does matter in this day and age. That's very, very important. And then he's going to bring in good coaches, top coaches in and around him. Steven Gerrard brought in top coaches. Yeah. We saw that. He had Michael Beale in there, Gary McAllister as a senior head. Frank Lampard has done that, brought in young coaches in and around him and then a senior head.
I think this is
with
crucial.
Clement in there.
But what's key here is you've got to be given time.
You've got to be.
You've got boardrooms at that level in the Premier League who want success yesterday.
And what Gareth's got to do now, and this is important for him going forward, because he has got this tag of being conservative and just playing out to get results. He's got to be more entertaining, which is what England are doing in the world. Let me just finish one second.
Look at his goals record.
No, but let me just finish this, Dan. He has done that in this tournament. He's taken the handbrake off. So what I want him to do tomorrow is keep that handbrake off and go and have a go at the French. And if he does that and we win, if he goes and gets to the semi-final, at least with England, then how can you say he can't be in the conversation for a top 5 job? He's got to be in the conversation.
I find that difficult, so taking the handbrake off. Did we take the handbrake off against USA? No, they played better than us. Did we take the handbrake off against Scotland? No, they played better than us. Sometimes it happens in football. And when you're listening to the likes of James Maddison...
I knew I liked you, Danny.
That I thought very, very... Well, they were. They were USA were a better team. Scotland were a better team.
Yeah, but Dan, what he didn't do in those games, I understand, and I totally agree with you, right? He didn't play a negative formation. Then you give the opposition credit. I think in the Euros, especially in the final in the Euros, I'm looking at him. If you as a manager...
But you're 1-1 against Italy.
I know, but I understand that, but if you're looking at that bench...
A team that hadn't lost for nearly 35 games.
Dan, let me finish. If you can look at that bench and you can change it to win the game because you've got offensive players on like Grealish, then you've got to have a go. People like Ferguson, they would... I played...
They find a way.
Well, Ferguson, when they won the league, remember when Sheffield Wednesday played, we were winning the game with 15 minutes to go. He basically put on all attackers on the pitch and they ended up winning the game 2-1 and ended up going and winning the league.
I think it's always very, very easy to criticise in hindsight.
I'm not criticising.
No, you didn't do this or didn't do that. If we'd have won the Euros, and bear in mind this was penalty kicks, by the way.
Yeah,
Morocco brought players on just to take penalty kicks. It worked.
Yeah, no, but there you go.
So that was okay. If we'd have won the Euros on penalty kicks, and you're talking 3 penalty kicks were away from winning it, suddenly you're a tactical genius for drawing with the Italians.
A year to 2 years from now, is Gareth managing in the Premier League?
No, I don't think he will. I don't think he wants to.
I
think after this, I think he'll walk away and have a break.
Yeah,
and whether he comes back into that the day to day, I'm not sure.